Thank you for bringing in such a fine member to our club. And Cynda, thank you and welcome. I guess you know by now this is not a normal civic club.
And that's why I'm here.
We enjoy ourselves, but we also do good in the world. That's what we're all about. Our program is not here yet. Roger is outside waiting for a program. And Ron, you said you chased a couple of people away. Was it our program?
It's good to be along. Those are two pretty good sized guys.
Okay. In the interim, Ron, you have some information about the bell ringing.
I do. I think all of you know you've received several messages from me about our ringing the Salvation Army kettle on Saturday, November the 30th. And let me say that I think all of us in here, it's pretty easy for me to say, we think a lot about Salvation Army, and obviously they think a lot about Sunrise because they've given us primo location on a primo day. Probably the only better day would be the Friday after Thanksgiving, and we've got the Saturday after Thanksgiving at the #1 position in the county, and that's Walmart's merchandise door. So we couldn't ask for a better situation. As you all know, there's always competition among churches, civic clubs, see who raises the most money. And although we can't compete with some of the larger organizations because they start writing all those checks, and I hope some of you will write some checks too. But we always do very well on our collection.
We have 9 to when?
I'm sorry?
9 o'clock till when?
Till 6. And Cynda was the first one to sign up at 9 o'clock. She's doing 2 hours, by the way. And I'm doing 11 o'clock. Gavin's got 1 o'clock, and the rest of the time is open. So I'm passing the sign up around to you now.
And you can also double up. You got 2 people there if
Yeah,
necessary.
that's right. That makes time go a lot quicker. Put your cell phone number down, please, because I'll have that sign-up sheet posted on the back of the easel, so that if you don't show up, the person standing there can give you a quick call and remind you to get there.
Very good. Ron, thank you for heading this up. It's always been a pretty good thing. I remember many times it's pretty cold standing out there, but it's I do it for my church and another group, and what we get from Walmart area there, we do doubles together. It's amazing, to say the least.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I think it's important for those folks who are not going to be here, that we get at least a $5 donation from them.
I owe $5.
We're committing 2 hours, so those who are not going to be here. So you as the president, leading by example, is going to do $5.
$10. He'll do $10.
I have a $20 bill on me. Y'all can change that.
I have changed.
So, Mr. President, is that a go?
He said double. He's going to do $10.
The only thing, you just told Cynda that for 1 year, since Nancy's her sponsor, Nancy has to pay the fines.
Yes, sir.
I've been Joe's sponsor for 17 years, and I've been paying.
He prays with you every Sunday. He prays for you.
Salvation Army Pie.
Yes,
right here.
absolutely.
This bucket's coming around. If you're not going to be here
2 to 3.
on the 30th,
That's fair enough. $5 to the cart.
Absolutely. No, it's the Salvation Army.
they're doing the kettle.
Okay, but I need change before I put that in there. Okay, but I will. I'll ante up before.
I promise you, Wayne will have that for you.
All right.
Order. We have a
Is it the truth? Is it fake?
I said I would change.
Yeah.
All right, we got to have order. All right, Michael, I didn't find it. Please do for just a second. Well, we have a guest. It'll be introduced just in a moment. There is a procedure in Rotary that we have in our club. If you are late, there is a $1 fine. Now,
Roger pays it.
all right, here it is. Steve Hunt, you know Steve?
Yeah.
Okay, Roger, I need $1 for each one of these because they are employees at CVCC and can look after you. I need $1. I need $1 for you. Because our guest was late, and you work at CVCC. You don't want him to think
Somebody gotta
$1
get it.
Roger has to go.
I got it.
He told me 7:30. I was here
Steve.
before
Oh.
7:30.
Wait a minute, who told you
He's still late.
That would be
He's
Roger.
still late.
So you still need a dollar? Here goes Steve.
All right. Now,
You were here 4 minutes early.
in the interest of time, how many people need pictures taken? And photographer, how long can you stay?
Till like maybe 10 till.
Okay, we need to get pictures taken now. So while the pictures are being taken, since it's just 3 of y'all, let's get that over with. While they're being taken, we'll have a program.
I need
All right.
to take.
So, Roger, would you introduce your guest, please?
Yes, happy to. I'd like to introduce Dr. Garrett Hinshaw. I'll give just kind of some brief information, try to keep it as brief as possible, and then I'll let Dr. Hinshaw speak. But Dr. Hinshaw is president of Catawba Valley Community College. He joined CVCC in August of 2006 as only the 3rd president in CVCC's history. At that point, it was a 48-year history. Now we're going on 61 years. Dr. Hinshaw received his bachelor's and master's degree from Appalachian State University and his educational doctorate from NC State University. I've been in a lot of meetings, budget meetings and review and innovation meetings with Dr. Hinshaw. He's very data-driven. It's something he's tasked the leadership of the college to be taking a look at in making data-driven decisions. Some data he likes to include on his email signature line. CVCC is ranked number 3 out of all community colleges in the nation. CVCC has over 30,000 alumni that create value in our communities. CVCC athletic programs result in academic and athletic All-Americans for over 200 student athletes moving on to the next level. CVCC ranks number 1 out of 58 community colleges in North Carolina in 2017 by niche.com. In 2018, CVCC Skills USA program was national champion for workplace skills model of excellence out of 16,000 chapters nationwide. Just a couple of Dr. Hinshaw's accomplishments. 2015, he was named President of the Year by the State Board of Community Colleges. In 2016, he was the Presidential Representative for the National Junior College Athletic Association, the NGCAA. He serves on the board of K64, Catawba County Economic Development Board, Executive Committee, the CVC Alexander Center Advisory Board, and also serves on the Community College Entrepreneurship NACCE Board. With that, please welcome Dr. Hinshaw. And
Thank y'all very much. Should I stand up?
Wherever you want, you can be if you want.
I'll stand up back here so I don't have my back to anybody. You know, Roger read off a bunch of stats there, and I should just drop the mic and walk on out and let it go at that. But no, we have been committed to really advancing this community for the last 13 years. When I walked into Catawba Valley Community College, I said, we're going to be the best community college in America. And everybody rolled their eyes at me. My board of trustees rolled their eyes, Steve Hunt rolled his eyes, Rick Van rolled his eyes, who was the city of Hickory Schools then. And you know, when you start casting that vision of excellence and you stay consistent with it and you create expectations that you can be the best, it really is amazing to me the impact that it had on our employees, because those are the individuals that have done this. It's never been about me, it's always been about we. And we have some outstanding faculty and staff at our college. And I told them at our August kickoff this year, I said, you know, it's great to be ranked number 3 in the country by all these different polls for graduation and retention and completion. I said, it's great to be ranked in all of our athletic programs nationally. Our women's volleyball team is currently number 5 in the country, going to the national championship this week. Those all are great, but it's like, if any of you have seen Talladega Nights, the movie with Will Ferrell, if any of you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last. And that's sort of the mantra that we've created at Catawba Valley Community College. And you all have had programs about K-64. That's probably one of the biggest game changers that really has come through this community over the past decade. And that is about partnership. And that's what we're about. And I want to thank all of you for the commitment that you've made to Rotary, for the support that you've given to our Office of Multicultural Affairs and different programs at our college. It makes a difference. It makes a difference because we can't do this by ourselves. And when we launched K-64 back in 2012, 13, it was really a vision to align everything in our community, to leverage every asset that we have. We have 3 public school systems. We have a community college. We have a wonderful private university here. We have government agencies. We have municipalities. We have private businesses that are working together to ensure that this community is not only healthy, but it's thriving. And we've changed the trajectory of what Catawba County looks like going forward. If you all remember back in, I guess it was about 5 years ago, there was a study that came out that said our population projection by 2030 was to decrease significantly, with mostly young people leaving this area. The most recent study that has come out shows that trajectory's changed. It shows that we are going to be increasing in population. And that's a result of everybody getting focused, working together, from the Economic Development Commission to the Chamber of Commerce, to all the Rotary programs getting focused on vision, and to this community coming together and say, you know what, we're not going to let ourselves die. Because if you look across North Carolina right now, there are a lot of rural communities that are really in trouble. We see colleges that are getting ready to close. We see opportunities for where people are moving out of areas. But Catawba County has said, no, that's not going to be us. And we're going to be the leader for this region. And that's the obligation and expectation that I've taken on the shoulders of our college, that we're going to be in the hub of that. We're going to work with every single partner, every one of our partners, to do what's right for the people in our future. And that commitment's never wavered, and it never will waver, because it's who we expect we are. Every day when Steve Hunt walks on the campus and Roger Urban walks on the campus, they know that they have a chance to change somebody's life. Every single day. When our teachers come into the classroom, they know that might be the day that they change the trajectory of a young person. And that's the way we approach things at CVCC. And it's not something where we're saying, you know, we're the best, hurrah, hurrah. We're saying we're going to be the best for each and every person who walks onto our campus on a daily basis. And when we achieve that, this whole community succeeds. This whole community rises up. It comes together, it begins to focus, and we can do great things. We've seen it. We've seen the evidence of it. And yes, rankings are great. Being national champions, that's great. But until you're seeing those less fortunate and underserved reaching those same heights and having access to quality education and to quality services, quality jobs in a community, we haven't done anything. It's sort of like, and I always refer back to my sports movies, it's like, remember the Titans, when they're sitting there saying, you know, they're coming together, and it was great when they came together at camp. But then they came back to the real world and said they weren't supposed to be together. And Blue says, you know, we ain't done nothing, y'all. And that's the way we got to look at this thing. We've got momentum here in this community. We've got a lot of positive things that are happening here at this university in partnership with community college systems across the region. We've got a lot of great things that are happening through different organizations, through Rotaries, through different American Heart Association, everybody working to improve things. And so when you open up an 86,000 square foot building on our campus that's solely dedicated to talent development, workforce development, that's a statement to this whole region. That says this community believes in you. And that's not something Catawba Valley Community College did on its own. County commissioners made a huge commitment to that. the people within our institution made a huge commitment that said, you know what? Workforce is our future. And if we don't commit to that as part of our core mission, then we're missing the boat. And if we don't connect our community and our young people through programs with our partnerships with the high schools, we're missing the boat. If we don't reach out to communities that have been underserved and not connected with our institution, we're missing it again. So we're doing intentional things that are going to make a difference for the future of Catawba County. And we want you all to join us. We want every Rotary to join us in that. Now, I'm not saying send everybody to CVCC. We can't handle it. What I'm saying is find a way to help these organizations, help this community continue the momentum that's being built with what's happening with the city of Hickory. You see it in Conover, you see it in Newton, you see development in the southern end of the county. It's going to take every single one of us to make this thing move. And we're on a great pathway to that. And I think we've got an opportunity to really take advantage of sort of the rebound effect of what I'm calling that rural-urban divide. We can be the benefactors of that rebound because people are going to move to Charlotte. They're not going to like the traffic in Charlotte. They're not going to like having murders happen right outside their household every day. They're going to want to look for a community that's safe, a community that provides access to quality services, that has great educational institutions, and that really presents a strong future for them to raise their family. And I think we're positioned to do it. And it's because of all of you and what you do every day. And it's because of us having the right attitude and saying, you know what, second's not good enough. We are going to be the best. And I think if we take that vision and take that mindset into the future, we can achieve anything we want to. So with that, I will shut up. I know I didn't give you a lot of details about what's going on. I'll let you ask questions of anything you want to ask me today. Steve Hunt knows I'm an open book, and I will answer it as honestly as I possibly can give it to you, as clearly as I can, and directly as I can. So does anybody have any questions about Catawba Valley Community College and what Red Hawk Nation is doing to help move this thing even further?
I don't have a question, but a comment about the workforce development building. We've had an opportunity to have our meals there, or end of the year banquet was there. We toured the place, thanks to Roger and Steve. And we've also had a couple of off-site visits to companies that are using the kind of equipment that you're teaching your students to use. So it was a wonderful way to see what they're learning be actually put into practice right here in the county.
Yeah.
And I think it's tremendous.
Well, it's been so exciting. When I see those students that have traditionally been in old shop areas, and you think about the high school shops and the college shops, they weren't the cleanest, nicest places to learn. And since we created that facility and the faculty have taken pride in that facility in their areas, and you see the students walk in, there's a different level of inspiration for those students to say, you know what, yeah, I'm going to learn a skill that's going to give me a good wage, and I'm going to do it in one of the most innovative facilities in the country, and going to be very proud of what I do going forward. That means a lot. When you value people, you can create everything. And that was the whole vision behind that facility, was to say, it's not the same old, same old. It's going to be something different going forward, and our business and industry partners have responded amazingly to that facility and what it's done. We've landed 3 new companies here, and they said directly, as a result of the commitment that this facility shows to the future talent development, so that you can provide us with a quality workforce. That's making a difference. When you're adding jobs and you're adding people to our community, that's the direction we want to be headed.
Now, I don't have a question, but I've got a comment. As far as the growth goes, if I'm not mistaken, Winston-Salem's the only place you can get fire training up until this year. My son was one of the first graduates of the Fire Academy 2 weeks ago. Now, he went through sheer hell.
Yeah.
They done 500 hours in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
But every one of them passed.
That's cool. Very good.
They were worn out, I'm telling you. Now he's in the EMT training segment.
Yeah.
He's got he tells me every day 2.5 weeks to go. But thank you.
Absolutely.
And y'all.
Absolutely.
Donald?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm wondering if you have GED program that extends out in the community, like have some churches or some other organizations that would be home sites or local, in region sites for those folks who may want to attend?
Yeah, we do have a few of those, but we had to actually cut a lot of that back as a result of funding cuts from the state, unfortunately. But we're always looking for central locations where we could gather a large enough group of people to make it cost effective so we could afford to do that. So we're not shutting out our extension into the community, but we have to be strategic in setting that up so that we're not setting up a scenario where we think we're going to have a lot of people to be able to fund the program itself, and then when we actually get there, they don't show up. So we've worked with the community partners, and we'd love to reach out anywhere within, especially a church setting, because you're going to get some influence and inspiration for people to be present and to attend and complete their GED as they go through it. So we're very open to those types of
You
options.
still have the program at the prison?
Yes, still doing prison education. And that's in
How about
partnership.
Ridgeview? Is Ridgeview's library still going?
I think that was the one that we had to reduce. And
I want to share something about the character of the man. He mentioned partnerships and things, and one of my first meetings with Garrett was when I was superintendent of Hickory Schools. The county commission each year looks at needs of school systems and schools and for building money to build things. And they have, as he said, 3 school systems. There's also the community college. So the 4 of us would meet every year. And instead of him saying, well, the college has got to have this, he said, what do y'all need? And we went out and we would share. Hickory needs this, Newton needs this, Catawba needs this, the college needs this. And we would talk and try to agree amongst ourselves which need was the greatest. And because of his leadership, we followed that leadership. We understood that let's see what's best for the county. And that's his whole mantra, what's best for Catawba County. And it's been my pleasure for a long time to be a friend, and also to present you with a coaster that says Hickory Sunrise Rotary. Wayne, raise your hand just so he knows who you are. This is made by Wayne Honeycutt. Thank you so much, my friend.
thank you all so much.
Appreciate you being
Glad to
here.
come by.
All right.
One other item, thanks for the program, but we had some cell phones to beat. I need $1 for Richard, I need it for Lynn, and for Mike. So
Hit Bart.
off.
Hit Bart. Hit Bart.
All right. Would you take one or pass it around, please?
Yes, I do.
All right, what's being passed around now is a budget. Let me get to things very, very quickly. Glenn Rossman, I have a check for $2,912 from Oktoberfest. And my thanks to everybody who volunteered. That was 104 hours. I'll have to ask you, because you saw the email I sent out, and I have to ask, is there any opposition to my requesting that Hickory Sunrise has sole responsibility for the pavilion next year? Any opposition to that request? All right. Then, I would like a formal vote stating that if the Hickory Downtown Development Association approves that request, that we will participate. Somebody make that motion.
I'll move it.
We will participate. All right, second. It's been moved and second. Any comments? All in favor of Hickory Sunrise participating in the Oktoberfest next year, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The fall dance, and I'm sorry Bob had to leave, but I watched the video last week. Thank you for the conversations that you had. It was important. The memo that I sent out, and of course I didn't bring it with me, did I? Yeah, I did. Of the memo that I sent out, I want to reiterate one part of that. And that is that even though we have the band already, we have the venue, Morris Mill, and it's Saturday before Halloween, which takes away a lot of the concerns we have this year. I said the primary concern is still there. Can we or are we willing to sell tickets? We could start planning this summer or earlier, allowing us to get the word out, get sponsors, have more time to get silent auction items, but we still have to sell tickets. A few folks offer to make donations in lieu of selling, and that's fine, but we still have to sell tickets. And we have to get a crowd there. This year's crowd was small, but they all had a great time. The band was that good. I just don't want members to feel as though they have to empty their own pockets to make a dance profitable. And a number of us in here did just that, bought tables. That's not how we should be doing things. We need to hang on to our own money so that we're always ready for Wayne's World. And this next point is important. Unlike Oktoberfest being a voluntary thing, nobody has to participate in Oktoberfest, it's voluntary. If we do the dance, everybody has to participate in some form or fashion. Even if you just get one silent auction item for us and don't go to the dance, that's fine, you've contributed. But it would have to be that kind of commitment. So the main question I have for you, and as I put it in here, I want you thinking about it. Do we continue this discussion? And the question is, do we want to have a fundraising dance next year? And I'd like us to make a decision soon. If everybody wants to vote now and say yes or no, that's fine. I don't have a dog in this fight. But if you want to continue the discussion, we can continue it and look at it from every angle possible. But I'd like you to really consider and understand that the only way it's going to be successful is if we can sell close to 300 tickets. We have to be able to do it. If we can't, and I used to sell 50 to 60 tickets. Steiger would sell a bunch and get the shad clubs to buy. This year I sold 8 maybe. And I didn't get the response that I usually get. And so please be thinking about that. Anybody have any concerns or comments about what I've just said?
You know, I think the dance was a major fundraiser for us. And again, I think it can be again, but we all have to, as you said, make a commitment to sell those tickets.
I think we need to start earlier promoting it.
Absolutely.
And doing everything else.
And that's been some of the hiccup is we wait till the 10th hour. And I'm not, and understand, I'm not blaming anybody or anything else. I'm talking about the mechanism. And that is starting the marketing very early.
Yeah, and that's what I got from last week's discussion that y'all had, that very thing.
I mean, you know the venue, you know the band. I could go, I mean, I know it's too early now, but I could go ahead and print the posters and the tickets and everything else and have them 3-4 months in advance.
My question is the reason that that this time that we didn't do as well is things that we can change?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I pointed out that, and y'all pointed out in the discussion last week, that having it on a Friday was not a good thing.
Football season.
Yeah, and you got football, and high school football, and you have Oktoberfest, first day of Oktoberfest, right there, and it was just not good timing. And I'm thinking, here's what I would like you to consider, that we make the approach that y'all mentioning of starting earlier, much earlier, and getting behind it 100%, and see what happens. And if it still doesn't work out, then that'll be our last dance.
Because I want to, because honestly, and we talk about this every year, but, and in the last couple of years, we've had different things happen, like certain people couldn't be there because of doing stuff, but we still participate, like you say. But honestly, I think the fellowship part of it is very important.
It was really fun.
That's the only time we don't have any other thing that we do where we come together that's outside this, that we do. And I mean, I like the fellowship part of it too. And I was a little sick this time, I can't even have to leave, but, that part is fun of it. But
everybody who's there has fun.
Right.
They always have fun, and it's a
and
good
I think
night.
but I think this time, if we decide to do this stuff, we have to decide. But this will be the kind of gauge, because we know the band's good. We know we picked that's why the day should be perfect, because it's nothing challenging, and see what we get, and then see. But I mean, the fellowship part of it to me is extremely important, and with the new members, because we've done this, when it was successful, we still had fun doing it. And if we could get back to the making money and having fun.
I think we can.
Yeah.
You know, any extra budgets around, everybody get a sheet? Okay.
Time dependent.
We don't have to be. We don't have to be. The reason I wanted you to look at the budget was because this is this year's budget, and you look up top, everything starts with anticipated income. And we thought we might raise $20,000 with the dances. And you look all the way down, and so we're looking for total income around $35,000. Then you get the expenses. The Rotary dance we thought would cost $14,000. I don't think it cost that much, did it, Glenn? Or do you know yet? Okay, once we get a final accounting on that, we'll take a look at it. But we have to understand that the income determines the outgo. And as you look down the list of outgo, some of these are, like we've narrowed down, we went from 5,000 to 1,000 for the CVCC scholarship, or at least the money we give to the school now. We have $2,000 in discretionary charitable contributions. Nobody yet, I don't think, has come to ask for us since July 1, since I started this year. I don't think anybody's come, so we've not given anything out of that, to my knowledge. Meetings for officers, I don't know what meetings are those? Those are Asheville, stuff like that? Or
Pets, pre-pets, RILA.
So RILA comes out of that?
Should.
Well, I have a separate line item.
Okay, I'm just naming where we pay for somebody to be somewhere.
Wasn't international in this too?
There was a proposal.
We have a separate line item for that.
There was a proposal separately.
All right, so anyway, we probably won't spend that much of the $2,500. Awards and recognition, I think we can cut that back a little bit. Promotions, that's usually the money we give to Allen Finley to get the word out. We can discuss whether we need to do that, but I think we have enough people here who can put items in the newspaper. Speaker gifts, the coasters, our annual meeting at the end of the year. We've promised to give Hickory High and Classroom Connections $500 each. Guest breakfasts, that usually doesn't cost us too much. The Christ Lutheran Food Fund, now that is basically how much you collect, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
sort of a wash, right?
yeah, it is, whatever that is, so that's no problem. The international expense, that's the trip to Hawaii if somebody goes there. The grant payment, and you see what our expenses are. If nobody asks, like Teen Christmas or something, doesn't come and ask us for anything, or if we decide we can't give dollars to these groups for this year, so be it, we'll save money. My point is, we have to understand what our income is before we commit to the outgo. I know when Glenn passes around the financial sheet each month, there's money there that's not here. And that's sort of our fund balance or whatever that we can draw from if necessary. But we can't keep drawing from that, and I think we agreed we wouldn't go below 15,000 on that. Is that correct? I think it's that we would not go below that on that figure. And it's there in emergency if we need something.
So where are we, Glenn?
Well, no, the CD matures in 2022, September, which is about $10,400, which we don't touch. We have a CD that we had gotten a favorable rate from BB&T, 2.5%. So that will be maturing. We don't touch it. Then the other amount's about 14,000 or so that we work through. I didn't realize you might need that, so I don't have it ready, so, but I can have it next time for no
Okay.
problem.
But if it were an issue, it's $10,000.
Pardon me?
At the least, it's $10,000.
Well, that's not touched.
But it can't be touched for a while.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right. But we got, yeah.
All right, but thank you, Glenn, appreciate that. So when you look at this budget, and we anticipate an income of $35,000, we're not gonna get it, right? Because I don't think we made, what, 2,000 at the most on the dance?
Yeah, here's the report. You weren't here, but I gave this
Okay.
last week. I'll need.
Thank you.
You can keep that if you would
Okay.
like. Thank you.
And we just now had $2,900 from Oktoberfest. I don't know what we're going to do between now and June. We need to be thinking about something.
So question, so we normally make $20,000 on that?
Normally, usually couple dances and stuff.
You're making about 6,000 because you have 14,600 expense.
Okay, that's right.
2 dances.
So on the 2 dances, we normally generate
Yeah.
$20,000.
In fact, we've even reduced that this year because we made more in the past. But we're nowhere near that. And
Michael,
so,
you have to subtract the 14,000 in expenses from the 20,000.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so okay, so we got $2,000, so what do we generally make? That's what I'm saying, on the 2
in the
dances.
past, if I'm not mistaken, it was close to $7,000 or $8,000 net, somewhere around that.
Per dance?
Per dance.
Okay, so $14,000.
So somewhere around that. That was the net for us.
So even if we did, if we did the Oktoberfest situation, we're not gonna make $14,000.
Oh, no.
So we
However,
gotta figure out some other way to make money.
yeah, that's my point. But also on the expense part, where it says it's gonna cost us $14,000 for the dance, it costs us less than $5,000. So, that helps with the overall outgo part. But yeah, we do need to be looking for something. Doesn't have to be a major signature event, but be considering something. Because even if we do the dance next year, that's next year's budget. This year's budget, we're not going to get the income we had hoped for. The expenses will be less, but can we consider or think about what other things might we do? That's all I want you to consider, okay?
Before June.
Obviously.
Mr.
before
President, I
June.
make a recommendation that you put together a very small group and talk about that.
Okay.
And just come back with something for the club.
I will be contacting some of you, and you can say yay or nay if you want to serve on a committee.
Good.
All right, next week, no meeting? Yes, Wayne?
I think it's important, Steve made a point, to come back in and spend a designated time, try to work through this. Be sure everybody's on the same page, and that we're committed, either the dance, Oktoberfest, or goal. And I think we need to spend more time and work it out.
I agree, yeah, and we will. We can use our regular meetings for the last 15 minutes to talk about it, but we do need a block of time to do that. No meeting next week, Thanksgiving. The first meeting in December is December 4th. Nancy, you have the program on that.
Rick,
Ron.
we have, thank y'all for signing up. We've only got one slot not signed up for, and that's noon on the 30th. So if somebody has not signed up, let me know, but I'll send an email out, maybe some not here today, will take that noon slot. But thank y'all for signing up, and I'll send this out to you in an email so you, as a reminder.
Okay, the bucket, you want it all to go to the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Put money in all the buckets, so you have to put in, it goes to the Salvation Army.
And those are the ones who weren't going to be that ring.
Right.
Yeah, and anybody else can put in too. That's
Michael,
right.
for your understanding about Oktoberfest, next year, if we man the pavilion all 3 days, the calculation was about $5,200.
And we'll put that in next year's budget. Steve?
Of the things we didn't say or do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Have a good week.
Okay, Mr. Hunt.
Cynda Bollinger, you have been selected by the members of the Rotary Club of Hickory Sunrise to become one of us. Membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege with corresponding duties and obligations, including service on club committees. You will be expected to participate in all avenues of service and attend this club meeting regularly and when asked to make up. Because you represent a classification it is your duty to tell us about your vocation and to bring the ideas of Rotary to your business profession. The community will know and judge Rotary by your actions. Therefore, membership in our organization must be limited to those who possess the qualities that will further the goals and ideals of Rotary. You have been chosen for membership because we are confident that the image and ideas of Rotary are safe in your keeping. I ask you to affix the Rotary pin to her lapel.
Hang on. Need you to present her certificate, Steve, and
I will.
the back, and the pin's inside.
All right. It's usually down here in the corner. They got none of you.
Pin's being presented by Dr. Nancy Toy, her sponsor.
Action shot.
It is with great pleasure that we welcome you as a fellow member of the Rotary Club of Hickory Sunrise. I would like at this point to ask Rotarian Ron Leach to introduce you to the four-way test.
Thank you, Steve. When five business and professional men met in Chicago, 1905, shortly thereafter, they decided they needed a creed, something to live by, not only in their Rotary life, but in their professional and personal life. And that's how the four-way test really got created. They were looking for something to use as a guide 24/7, although that term wasn't around back then. And so here's our four-way test. You'll hear it we adjourn with it every week, as you well already know. Is it the truth? Certainly that's just the foundation for everything we do. If we do everything in a truthful way, then everything else is going to sort of fall in place. Is it fair to all concerned? Think about your neighbors, think about your other friends, think about your people you haven't met yet. If it's fair to them, if you treat them fairly, then things will be good in your own life. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Certainly that's something that all of us strive to do throughout the community, and this club, I think, does a beautiful job of that with all of the things we get involved in throughout the community. And this club, since its beginnings, has built a lot of good relationships about this town. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? If it's not beneficial, you're not going to be making good friendships. So think about this, not only when you come to Rotary, but every day of your life. And if we all live by this, we're going to live a better life, and those around us will also.
Thank you, Ron. Cynda, at this very moment, you are the newest Rotarian for Rotary worldwide. Welcome to our club.
Cindy, to make this official, this is your badge. You're to wear it proudly, but you're to leave it here. When you come in, this is your pass in our club. Occasionally, there are a fine or two that can be assessed. So always wear this. That will help.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And Cynda, for your first year, your sponsor is responsible for any fines that you.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, hang on one second. Since we don't have Regina and we don't have Phil, we'll do Bob, since he's the biggest giver. He's going to present her with her own cart cup. Come on, guys.
The chalice, Steve.
Holy Grail.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's to go in your car and throw change in, so you know the story.
Take two.
Ladies and gentlemen. Please join with me in honoring our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joe?
Yes. Let's pray. Oh God, we thank you for the night of rest we have received and for the gift of a new day. We thank you, O God, for the opportunities we have to place ourselves in service in this community and around the world. We thank you for the gift of Rotary and for all the work it does to share the hope and the peace and the joy of life. And so, Lord, as we gather, we pray for your blessings upon this meeting, may your wisdom guide us in all things as we seek to serve above self. In the name of Christ I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Joe. Have be seated. Mr. Honeycutt.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everyone this morning? Good morning. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Good morning. All right, several things that we need to do. Nancy, you have not necessarily a guest, but someone special this morning. Would you introduce your special guest who will be installed in our club?
I would like to introduce our newest member, Cynda Bollinger, who's going to be installed today. I'm very excited to see her. And she's already done a lot of service for our club, and she signed up to ring the bell. So I'm very happy.
Good deal. Congratulations.
Welcome.
Cynda, when you came the first time, I pronounced her name Bollinger, but I have been corrected. It's Bollinger, and I will pay the fine. So I want you to know, we want to keep it straight, not Bollinger, but Bollinger. All right, good deal. There is a difference. Okay, Ron.
Yes, sir.
Parameter, how do we stand? Is it safe?
I'm staying good. I sent my deputy out this morning early, and he scared off a couple of bad characters, so we're in good shape.
We're in good shape to start. All right, that sounds great. Okay, a couple of announcements we have. First of all, I guess I better start with Richard Tucker. All right, some of you did not know, last week Richard was absent. Okay, I sent him a text. I'm in Cuba. Now I want to hear a little bit more. The club would like to hear why you went to Cuba. And maybe at least a couple things that you did. I don't need to know all of them, but a couple things you did while in Cuba.
Actually, I was invited to go to Cuba from a couple of guys, actually. There's a main guy that went to Cuba to buy cigars. And he had a friend that was going to tag along, and the friend asked me to tag along. So that's sort of how I got to go to Cuba. And so we went to Cuba, we went fishing, and we went to the cigar farm, and went to some shows and that kind of stuff. And saw all the old cars, everywhere old cars. And that was the truth. So
good deal.
Weather was in the mid-80s during the day and low 70s at night, pretty much the same every day.
Good. No issues at all?
No issues whatsoever.
Okay, only one issue I have. I need at least $1 from you for taking time to Rotary, your Cuban trip. So give me $1. I gave you time to explain what happened last week.
No, you bought time.
All right, here's the next item. I got several little ones. And normally I get here early, and Rick was ahead of me this morning. And he was kind enough to take all the badges outside. But what Rick didn't do, when he opened it, he had it upside down. All the badges came out this morning. And so I got here panicked. He was out here trying to get all the badges back in. So that has happened to me, and I appreciate your effort. But the next time, I'll go ahead and get it the next time. Okay?
Yes, sir. I'll let you have it.
All right.
What about the dollar?
I'm gonna get to it. Okay, I'm the sergeant at arms. I need another $1 from you.
Out of order.
You're out of order. I'm speaking. I need $2 now. All right.
Sit on your hands.
Okay, Rick, I'll take $1 from you.
I have 5.
I'll change you. I certainly will. Okay, Lynn, you have an announcement this morning, I believe.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else does, but obviously I go to Auto Fitness, so everybody knows the guy that's in charge of Auto Fitness.
For the new people though, for the
Yeah,
new members.
for the new people. That's Bob, he's the owner of Auto Fitness. I got this little coupon in the mail this week, okay? I've been doing business with Bob for about
Saving these
5
people.
years. There's
Listen,
7 seniors
Unless you wanna be
that
the
go
speaker.
there.
You can slide that
I get
down.
this in the mail, and it doesn't even have my name on it. I'm called postal customer. My real name.
Your one next to
Okay, here you go.
I'll be more than that, he's advertising.
all right, we're not through yet. Okay, you didn't have the name on that flyer, and you've done business with Steiger,
Yes, sir.
and it came to you as a postal
I'm just
customer?
a postal customer. That's it.
Wow.
That's a Thanksgiving card advertising. I need one more dollar because it's an advertisement. One is because.
Just don't go postal on it, that's all.
All right,
I got $1 for you. I hadn't seen you in a long time.
okay, Glenn, do you have anything to report this morning?
Do I have anything to report?
Yes,
Not that I
since
know of.
Richard was gone,
Oh,
you
yeah.
had to look after the
The
farm.
farm and checking on his wife, and I guess I was a husband wife, or whatever you call me. Wife, husband, what do you call me? Sister wife or something, anyway. But everything was good.
How was
Just call it free and nobody can blame
I had so many thoughts running through my head.
All right, I've got more, but more is coming, if that makes sense, okay? All right,
Thank you, Wayne.
sure.
Every once in a while, we get the pleasure of inducting a new member. So, Mr. Hunt, may I call on you, sir? Ms. Bollinger, would you stand and follow the directions of Mr. Hunt?
Okay, hang on 1 second.
And hang on 1 second.
I'm gonna stop the camera now.